What's up, everybody? Welcome back once again to another episode of Axel's Analysis. As always, I am your NXT nerd and your Indian former Axel Mulligan. Obviously not covering NXT this week. As promised, I am covering New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 9, which was just, wow, holy fucking shit, what a show this was, you know. Really helped, I think, having JR and Matt Striker on commentary, definitely, because they were just phenomenal all the way through. Anything that JR wasn't quite sure on, you could tell in certain parts there were things that he wasn't quite sure on. Matt Striker just had the answers. He knew just everything that was needed to know, really. Striker's always been quite well educated. JR's the greatest commentator of all time, I would say. And putting those two together it was just beautiful chemistry. It just clicked. It was perfect. Honestly, you could not have kicked off 2015 in any better way than this show was, you know, the way that this show was presented, because it was just phenomenal all the way through. And the way Global Force Wrestling and New Japan just came together just to put on, I was a bit sceptical, I must admit, from the Global Force Wrestling side of things. Obviously I know the New Japan product is always very, very good. I was just a bit sort of sceptical that Global Force Wrestling would maybe try to have too much input on the show, but they didn't. They let the New Japan guys go at it, and the only real participation from Global Force really was obviously Matt Striker and JR and Jeff Jarrett and Karen Jarrett. There was no other sort of participation from them, really. There didn't need to be, you know, it was a New Japan show, and they were just sort of promoting it to the American audience, which, fair play to Jeff Jarrett, he did what he needed to do, and he did a fantastic job of doing it, so I'll take my hat off to him. Just get right into the show. The first match was for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. It was Red Dragon versus the Forever Hooligans, Alex Kozlov and Rocky Romero, versus the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, versus the Time Splitters, Kushida and Alex Shelley. And it was a really fun way to kick off the show, you know, as you'd expect. Result aside, that I didn't think anybody looked stronger than anybody else. I think they all got their shots in, they all got their big moments in, and I don't think that anybody, I don't think anybody looked stronger than anybody else, which was a good thing, because they're portraying them as evens. They're not making one team look better than the other. And even in victory, the losing sides didn't look any worse than any of the others, and the winning side didn't look any better than the losers as such, aside from the fact that they won the match. And that was the only thing that separated them, really. The big surprise, I thought, was that the first super kick didn't come from Matt or Nick Jackson. It came from Alex Shelley on the outside of the ring. When he hit it to Kyle O'Reilly, Kyle sort of ran across the apron looking to do his drop kick, but Shelley caught him, bam. Kind of like he did it Final Battle a few weeks back. But the most awesome part of the match, I thought, was when Alex Shelley and Alex Kozlov had Matt and Nick Jackson up on their shoulders, sort of both in like an electric chair position, and Shelley signaled for Rocky Romero, you know, go up to the top rope. So Romero goes up to the top, hits a double clothesline, but as they're coming down, the Jacksons, they flip and land on their feet, hit super kicks to the two Alexes, Shelley and Kozlov, turn around and hit a double super kick to Rocky Romero, and I thought that was fucking awesome. The match ended sort of soon after that. Red Dragon picked up the win. They got a flurry of offensive moves in, and they won with chasing the Dragon to Alex Kozlov, and I think it was the right decision to keep the titles on Red Dragon for now. You know, it's their first defence of the belts. I think they've got a lot more to offer New Japan as well, in the way they can help bring out the best in the junior heavyweight tag team division. Maybe also put them both in the junior heavyweight singles division as well at some stage. I think the deal that they've got with Ring of Honor, New Japan, this is the deal that they've got with Ring of Honor, is really beneficial to both companies, because obviously the more exposure these guys get to a wider audience and a wider range of wrestlers, the better it's gonna, the more it's gonna help Ring of Honor moving forward, because obviously these are Ring of Honor guys, they are contracted to Ring of Honor. So the more experience you get outside of Ring of Honor, the more you can bring back and teach the other guys in Ring of Honor. You know, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, they both work for PWG as well. I'm not sure if Kyle still does actually, but I know obviously up until recently he was the PWG World Champion. So, you know, the more that these guys get exposure outside of Ring of Honor, the more it's going to help them in Ring of Honor, the more it's going to help Ring of Honor on the whole as well, because it'll not only spread the name of the brand, it'll help improve their opponents by the experience that they're bringing back. That's just my opinion. If anybody thinks any differently, you know where to get me on Twitter at Axel Mulligan. 6-man tag team match next. It was the Bullet Club, Jeff Jarrett, Bad Luck Fale, and Yujiro Takahashi versus Team New Japan, Hiroshi Tenzan, Satoshi Kojima, and Tomoaki Honma. And this match, it was one where I said, if there's one match that's going to be where you're going to say it is what it's going to be, this was it. And it basically was. It didn't go too long, so can't really have too many comments there. We're talking 5 minutes maximum. It was just one of those kind of not a filler match, but it was something for the crowd to cheer about, with the result, with the Bullet Club losing. Basically the ending of the match was pretty cool, in all honesty. Tiger Hattori was the referee. The legendary Tiger Hattori was distracted by Karen Jarrett, who came down to the ring obviously with the Bullet Club. So Jeff brought in his signature guitar, and he looked like he was going to smack Honma around the head with it, but Honma managed to block the guitar, and eventually Takahashi came into the ring. He sort of held Honma up, leaving him prone for Jarrett to hit him with the guitar. As Jarrett swung the guitar, Honma moved out of the way, and Takahashi basically ate the fucking guitar full on. And Tenzan and Kojima came back into the ring, got rid of Jeff Jarrett, and Tenzan sent Fale out of the ring, clotheslined him over the top rope. Fale looked quite impressive in this match as well. I've not seen a lot of Fale in the past, but he looked very impressive, I thought, for all 5 minutes of the match. This is Takahashi then went Takahashi. Honma went to the top rope. Takahashi was down on the canvas. Honma went up to the top rope, and the place just fucking exploded when he hit the diving headbutt. Bam. 1, 2, 3. Team New Japan picks up the win. Short and sweet. And that was that. The next match, just moving swiftly on, was Toru Yano, Mikey Nichols, Noah Meach, Marufuji, and Shane Hast versus Davey Boy Smith Jr., Lance Archer, Shelton X Benjamin, and Takashi Iizuka. And it was another short match, you know, it was entertaining enough for what it was. I say it all the time, the more I see Davey Boy Smith Jr., the more he looks like his dad, the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith. And he's developed a bit of a mean streak as well since leaving the WWE, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I think he's definitely improved a hell of a lot in the ring. I said it back when I covered the House of Hardcore 7 show. Davey Boy Smith's he's brilliant. He's come on leaps and bounds in the last few years since leaving the WWE. It's probably the best move for him. And in fact, to be fair, Matt Striker actually alluded to the tag team, the Hart Dynasty, you know, Davey Boy Smith, or DH Smith as he was back then, Tyson Kidd, or TJ Wilson. But yeah, as I say, I'm always impressed with Davey Boy Smith Jr. And not because he's half English, just because he's that fucking good. Marufuji picked up the win for his team with the Tiger Kit. No real talking points in the match. Actually, there was one. Lance Archer hit a fucking awesome choke slam. I can't remember who he hit it to, so I haven't written it down, but it's just something that's just popped into my head now. He hit a fucking amazing choke slam. But yeah, aside from that, nothing else really happened. It was just, as I say, it was just one of those matches, short and sweet. The next match, Minoru Suzuki versus Kazushi Sakuraba, and this was a match where you could only win by knockout, submission, or referee stoppage. Something I didn't know, but both men were trained by Billy Robinson, wrestling legend Billy Robinson, and also Carl Gotch had a hand in training Suzuki. Pretty cool, I thought. This was just a straight out fucking fight, in all honesty. This wasn't a wrestling match, this was like fucking MMA, just written all over it. Obviously both men have had MMA careers, wrestling careers, and this was just fucking brutal, I thought. The talking point there was Sakuraba. He injured the left arm of Suzuki fairly early in the match. That was using the Kimura out on the ramp, which I thought was pretty cool that they used the Kimura a lot. Whether it was a legit injury or not, I don't think it was legit. I think it was worked. But fuck me, Suzuki did one hell of a job selling it. He was absolutely fantastic. Basically, after the arm was hurt, Sakuraba did an awesome job, just working it over with punches, kicks, submissions. But Suzuki, he just kept coming back. And the surprise was that Suzuki actually picked up the win. After all that punishment he sustained, he still managed to pick up the win. He basically managed to make Sakuraba pass out to a rear naked choke, and there was a big show of respect after the match as well between both guys, which is really good to see, because it just helps elevate the name of the brand, New Japan Pro Wrestling. These guys respect each other, similar to Ring of Honor in a way, I suppose, with the Code of Honor, but once in a lifetime match really this was, and we'll probably never see it again. It's never happened before. Sakuraba versus Suzuki, hell of a fight, absolutely amazing, I thought. We go from one slugfest to another, or slobber knocker with JR on commentary. Tomohiro Ishii versus Togi Makabe for the Never Openweight Championship. And you always know when you get a Never Openweight Championship match, it's just going to be fucking insanely brutal, and this match was no different. Ishii still has his shoulder taped up. Basically, he's been injured for some time, since the G1 tournament, G1 Climax tournament back in the summer, I think it was July, August time. Davey Boy Smith Jr. injured the left shoulder of Ishii. But this was a fun match from start to finish, really. I always like watching the Never Openweight division. Just because of the physicality. These guys just pummel the shit out of each other, and they won't get knocked down, they'll just keep coming back. You could lace 10 bells of shit out of somebody and they'll just take it and they'll just give you 10 bells back. It's brilliant. I love watching it. There weren't really any standout moments as such, apart from Matt Striker's "Larigato," thinking he's a Japanese commentator. That was pretty cool. And what I thought was the surprise about it was the result. Makabe picked up the win, which ended Ishii's second reign as the Never Openweight champion. He only had one successful defence, but I'm guessing the title change was so that Ishii could go off and get surgery on his shoulder, because he does need surgery on the shoulder. So I'm guessing he'll take some time off just to get that sorted out, get that fixed up, and come back maybe, hopefully in time for the G1 tournament, if they're going to put him in that, if not for later on in the year. But so I thought that was a big surprise, Makabe picking up the win, but we'll see how he does as champion. It's the first time I've ever really sort of been invested in watching him, and I thought he put on a hell of a performance. The same as Ishii, really. I've seen Ishii a few times now, and I've been impressed by him every time. And working with a duff shoulder as well, you can't not be impressed by that, because it is a legit injury. He does need surgery, but just working with that injury, working through that injury, and putting on a hell of a fight. The next match was for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. The challenger was Kenny Omega. You had the Young Bucks in his corner. and obviously Taguchi, the champion. Another really good match as well, as you'd expect for the division, because the junior heavyweight division is just filled with guys who are just insanely really good wrestlers. Even going back to the opening match of the show, the junior heavyweight tag team championship match. Just in that match you had 8 great wrestlers. In this match you got another 2 great wrestlers. What do you get when you get great wrestlers? You get great wrestling matches, and this was no exception, really. It was a match. They kind of remind me of 2 people: Kenny Omega, Scott Hall, or Razor Ramon. He's got that attitude about him. He's got the tough pick. And Taguchi kind of reminds me of looks-wise Ricky Steamboat, and in the ring Eddie Guerrero. And I'm not just saying that because he went for the 3 amigos in the match. There's a lot of similarities between the 2 in the ring, obviously. I say you can't compare to a guy like Eddie Guerrero or Ricky Steamboat. I just have, but I'm talking like the basic fundamentals. I mean, Taguchi and arm drag, and I just thought Steamboat. 3 amigos, Eddie Guerrero, and then a couple of other moves in there as well. It just sort of made me think Eddie Guerrero, and looks wise, he had like a dragon on his green tights. Just reminded me of Ricky Steamboat, sort of around 1989. Not that that's a bad thing. Steamboat's my all-time favourite. The one thing I didn't know about Kenny Omega, actually, apparently he shaves his arm before the match, sort of a few days before a match, before a big match. And what he'd do is, by the time the match comes around, he'll have like stubble on his arm, and what he'll do is he'll sort of grate the stubble against his opponent. I've never heard of anyone do that before, but what a fucking great idea, That's how you sort of, gains you in a little bit of an advantage, maybe. I know, after having a shave, run my hand across my face and I think, fucking hell. So imagine somebody doing that with the full force of their arm. It's gonna fucking hurt. One of those as predicted matches, really. There weren't too many of those on the card, maybe 3 at most, but as predicted, Kenny Omega picked up the win with the One-Winged Angel, which in all honesty is a fucking thing of beauty. If you've not seen it, just watch it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It was a brilliant match, and a really good way to finish it. Kenny Omega's the new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, bringing more gold to the Bullet Club. And we'll see where he goes from here. Will Taguchi get a rematch? Will they move on to maybe maybe give one of the guys in the first match of the night for the Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship? Will one of those guys get a shot? It's left wide open, and that's what I like about it with New Japan. You don't always have one contender to a title. You've got several. The next match of the night was another Bullet Club match. Anderson and Gallows versus Goto and Shibata for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championship, and it was another enjoyable match. I thought Gallows was really impressive, and it's a shame that he didn't remain with either TNA or the WWE, because this guy just, for me, he's got it. You look at him, big guy, 6'7", 6'8", what we're talking, 270 pounds, and he can wrestle. Not many guys that sort of size can wrestle, but Doc Gallows can. But WWE and TNA's loss is New Japan's game, and this is a guy who should be knocking on the door of someone like a Vince McMahon and a Dixie Carter. Not literally knocking on the door, but Vince on a job with his performances in the ring. People should be taking notice. Triple H is quite, he knows what he's doing. He's well educated. He's gone off inside guys like Hideo Itami, Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, all these guys, and now you've got Doc Gallows there, who's just built like a brick shit. As he's got the build that the WWE generally look for, and he can wrestle as well. Kind of like a Luke Harper in a way, I suppose. But as I say, WWE's loss and TNA's loss is New Japan's game, and wherever else he decides to sort of, ply his trade. the Bullet Club, you know. Gallows and Anderson held the championship since January 4th last year, 2014. They won the titles from the Killer Elite Squad, and they were making their 7th defence. Unfortunately, though, their 7th defence was their last defence. I don't know. Goto and Shibata, they won with the PK kick, and I just think it looks incredibly weak. It's a kick to the chest, you know. I know obviously you used a sleeper hold beforehand, but the PK just looks really weak. It's to me, it's not a finishing move. It's just a kick to the chest, you know. Fucking Rey Mysterio kicked loads of guys in the chest over his career. Eddie Guerrero kicked loads of guys in the chest over his career. Fucking I can't think of any more names, but shit, how many guys kick people in the chest? You know, Kalisto does it now in the WWE. Sin Cara does it. I don't get it. I don't understand what was so good about this as a finisher. Nevertheless, not to take anything away from Shibata and Goto, you know, apparently they were on the same wrestling team in college, I think it was, or in school, so you know they've been friends for a long time. So you got to be happy for them that, you know, that they won the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. You know, a lot of history between the two, obviously personally and professionally. You can't not be happy for them, really. Similar story to, I suppose, to Edge and Christian, you know, good friends in school, when it won 7 WWE Tag Team Championships. Moving on. AJ Styles versus Tetsuya Naito. And this is where the show really picked up. We're into the last 3 matches now, and this is where the show really picked up. Striker and JR, they mentioned on commentary before how AJ had broken 2 guys' necks in 2014. He didn't name either Lionheart or Yoshitatsu, but obviously we all know who they are. Particularly Lionheart obviously took to Facebook fairly recently to campaign against the Styles clash. Called it a dangerous move. For me, it's dangerous to those who don't know how to take it. And if you don't know how to take it, speak to AJ. AJ, how do I take this move? Well, don't tuck your fucking chin in. Simple. And if you weren't comfortable taking it, just talk to AJ. You know, I'm sure he wouldn't mind using the calf cutter to finish a match. It makes him look stronger, if anything, because he's getting a guy to tap out. So, you know, surely, you know, he'd be willing to change the finish up, as long as the booking team are okay to change the finish up as well, obviously. And I have read as well that AJ does want to start using the calf cutter more to finish matches, but anyway, Lionheart, you know, obviously went on that little rant, but I'd love the match. You know, for me, Naito is probably, he's either the number 4 or the number 5 guy in the company. Obviously, you've got your top 3, Tanahashi, Okada, Nakamura, probably in that order. And Naito, I'm not sure if I would put him at number 4, number 5, or number 6 maybe, because I'm thinking about Ibushi as well. Those are probably definitely the next 3, but in what order they come, I don't know. This is, well, from personal opinion, I don't know. I can't decide. AJ for me did a great job working over the left leg of Naito. My favourite spot of the match was basically, as besides the finish, AJ was in the corner, and Naito ran into attack, but AJ blocked it and rolled straight into the calf cutter, and I thought, you know, reasonable chance of winning, because what he was doing is he was moving his hand up and down the leg of Naito, like up and down the foot, up and down the leg, to change the levels of pressure on the leg. You know, that's just good experience wrestling. You know, you can't teach experience in the ring. You know, I've been watching wrestling for 15 years, and I would never have thought, well, if you move your hand up and down the leg during the half break. So I've seen the calf cutter I don't know how many times, back from when he sort of debuted it in TNA, through Ring of Honor, New Japan, and I would have never have thought, well, if you move your hand up and down the leg, it's going to change the levels of pressure that are being applied. I just thought that was a really good experience move by AJ. You know, he's obviously a very clever wrestler. He's been doing it for long enough. Just absolutely fantastic to watch. It's an absolute pleasure to watch, if anything. Another cool thing that AJ did in the match, used Bloody Sunday, which was obviously used in homage to Prince Devitt. After that, the position that Naito was left in the ring, I expected Styles to go for Spiral Tap, but instead he picked him up, looked to hit the Styles Clash, which Naito managed to escape. He basically managed to backdrop AJ over the top rope, and then as AJ got back into the ring at 19. AJ got back into the ring at 19. Sorry, just completely misread my notes there. AJ got back into the ring at 19, which was pretty cool because he hit the floor quite hard, and the way that they sell the long counts in New Japan is just brilliant, because it really gets the crowd into it, because they get sucked in, because they have the ring announcer count along with the referee, so you get to 30, 40, 50, 60, and there's sort of a louder expression from the ring announcer every time. But when you get to 19, the crowd's sort of up on their feet thinking, is he going to make it? And as he gets it back into the ring, everybody claps because of how well it's sold. Where are we up to? Sorry, completely lost my train of thought there. Basically, Naito, as AJ got back into the ring, Naito sat him up on the top turnbuckle, looking to hit the top rope Hurricanrana, but AJ held on to the thighs of Naito, and Naito's head is level with the middle turnbuckle. AJ, all he's got to do, hook his legs around as he does, bam, Styles Clash from, I don't know if you could call it the top rope or the second rope, but holy shit, that was fucking awesome. That was the spot of the match, one of the spots of the night, really, I thought. I'd probably put it the number 3 spot of the night, behind 2 of the spots that happened in the next match. One in the next match and one in the main event. But just a brilliant finish. And guess what? No broken neck for Naito. So we can breathe a sigh of relief, and Lionheart can go back to sort of thinking, oh, well, it's a dangerous move. It's a dangerous move if you don't know how to take it, Lionheart, if you're listening, sir. Don't get me wrong, I've got great respect for anybody who gets into the ring, Lionheart included. But I think a few people are getting a bit carried away calling the Styles Clash a dangerous move. It's not a dangerous move. It's a dangerous move if you don't know how you're taking the move. Yoshitatsu, because I think I'm backtracking here, I know, but I want to get this point out there. Lionheart said less experienced wrestlers won't know how to take the move. How does that explain that Yoshitatsu didn't know how to take the move? The guy's in his late 30s. He worked for the WWE since the WWE's version of ECW was in existence. So he worked there for a good 5 years at least. So, well travelled, well experienced. Worked all over the world before that. Tell me how an experienced wrestler then can break their neck by doing the Styles Clash. Because obviously, no disrespect for Yoshitatsu, he took it wrong. He tucked his chin, he got a broken neck. And don't get me wrong, I feel very sorry for anybody who comes out with an injury from a wrestling match, doing the thing that they love. And I'm a Yoshitatsu fan. I'm a Lionheart fan. But don't talk about things that are potentially completely incorrect, because in my opinion, an experienced wrestler can easily get an injury the same as an inexperienced wrestler can get an injury. Penultimate match of the night for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Kota Ibushi. And all over women. I didn't watch the show live. Basically, the website where I watch these things said that the show started at 9:30 GMT. Show started 2.5 hours before that. So I was pretty fucking pissed off. But I was sort of keeping up with it on Twitter because I didn't want to watch it. Yet I still didn't care if I read the results, but that's just me and my weird ways. Basically all over Twitter, women were leaking like broken pipes over Nakamura's entrance. That's the only way I could describe it, because the men were just like, oh yeah, that was pretty cool, but the women were basically like fucking gushing like a waterfall. And the King of Strong Style, you know, came out dressed as, well, a king. And in my opinion, and the opinion of many others, this was the match of the night. And, you know, when you've got Tanahashi versus Okada in the main event, you know, that's definitely saying something. This match was fucking unbelievable. The one thing that I loved about the match the most was the number 2 spot. Actually, no, fuck it, this is the number 1 spot of the night. And this is what me and Tim call, this is the hashtag Randy Marsh moment of the show. And Tim's probably the only one who knows what I mean by that. Nakamura was on the outside of the ring, and Ibushi ran into the corner, elevated himself onto the metal bar that holds the ring rope to the ring post. He elevated himself up onto that, and in one swift movement moonsaulted off onto Nakamura. It's called a triangle moonsault, and holy shit, absolutely amazing. I'm always impressed by Ibushi, but I can't remember having seen that before, just off the top of my head. But fuck me, that was fucking amazing. Another awesome part was when basically both men were exchanging right hands, closed fists, and Ibushi went for one too many. Nakamura had one of those also able to, like, you think back to the G1 final from last year, where he countered the Rainmaker into a cross arm breaker. He did that here. Ibushi went for one big right hand too many. Nakamura caught it, flipped over into a cross arm breaker, which Ibushi, to be fair to him, countered it brilliantly because he kept his hands clasped together. And what he did is he rolled Nakamura back onto his neck, and he just stomped on his head until he let go. And I thought it was brilliant because Ibushi, for me, he really his star shone in this match. It really came out. And if he's not one of the next in line to win a championship in New Japan, I would be very, very surprised. A few moments after that, Ibushi, you know, full of confidence, hit Nakamura with the Bomber-Ye, which is Nakamura's own finisher, and Nakamura just kicked out of one. Referee's hand came down, Nakamura kicks out. And that, you know, the last cool spot of the match was after an attack by Ibushi. Nakamura rolled right onto the apron, which, you know, you think, well, you know, smart thinking, you know, get out of the way of the ring so he can't attack you. Wrong. Nakamura was pulled up to his feet by his hair by Ibushi. So Ibushi's in the ring, Nakamura's on the apron against the ropes. Ibushi picks him up by his hair, and he locks his hands under the armpits of Nakamura, and he jumped up onto the top ring rope, locked his hands under the armpits of Nakamura, and German suplexed him back into the ring. And I just fucked that spot up. I apologise, but it was fucking cool. And that was probably the number 4 spot of the night. Unfortunately for Ibushi, didn't help him. Moments later, Nakamura managed to hit the Bomber-Ye to retain the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. He did give a great show of respect afterwards, so, you know, he went over to Ibushi, basically sort of, I presume he sort of congratulated him on it. It was a great match, it really was. And to be fair to Ibushi, like I said, his star shone in this match. It really came out, and he's showing time and time again, you know, why he is such a great talent. We all know how good Nakamura is. Everybody, we've seen Nakamura, you know, some of the great matches he had last year. You think back to the match he had with Kevin Steen at War of the Worlds. I'd say the G1 final. Just another fine example of Nakamura in his prime. Just the way he handles himself in the ring, and after the match as well, you know, with the show of respect. So, you know, you've got to love Nakamura. You can love Nakamura. This guy's just fucking amazing. Main event time. And before I start with this, obviously, IWGP Heavyweight Championship, Kazuchika Okada, the challenger, versus Hiroshi Tanahashi, the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. A big thank you to everybody who listened to Axel's Analysis episode 32, I believe it was. The highest watched show since I started making these podcasts. Just a big thank you. Well over 100 views on YouTube. I think it was about 110 the last I seen. Not very many on Podomatic, but I don't generally get many on Podomatic anyway. Fuck all on MixCloud, because MixCloud's shit, but I put it on there anyway just in case. But as I say, it's the most watched show in Axel's Analysis history, so thank you to everybody who watched. The numbers are still going up. You know, as I say, I started the week at 99. I'm up to about 110 on that episode now on YouTube, so thank you to everybody who watched that show for the preview of what was an awesome main event between Okada and Tanahashi. JR was awesome. He put over both men at the start of the match. Tanahashi, for how he helped put New Japan back on the map, because as much as he didn't, obviously you can't do it single-handedly, you know, you've got to have opponents who are worthy enough to be in the ring with you and good enough to be in the ring with you. Tanahashi was the star, kind of like John Cena, but a lot better. Tanahashi was the star of that. As I say, he put New Japan back up on the map. He was the main name, and he was putting over Okada basically for his fucking dropkick. You know, and I've never known any announcer put over a dropkick the way JR put over Okada's. You know, I think back to like the 2002 era for SmackDown, Bob Holly. What a fucking dropkick he had. And Taz used to say, you know, best dropkick in the business, and I've done with it. But JR was just, you can tell he is a huge fan of Okada, and I don't think you can be a huge fan of Okada because of how he just wrestles, how he works a match, the way he can sell an injury, put his opponent over, and not just sort of lose the match, but just to help elevate his opponent. And even now, even after this match, Tanahashi's elevated. Tanahashi was already sky high. He's up in fucking Earth's atmosphere after this match. It's just phenomenal. They documented Tanahashi's neck problems, which they're not as serious, to the best of my knowledge, they're not as serious as Striker and JR were put them across as, but it does add to that drama in the match, I think, which is a good thing, because, you know, kayfabe's a dying art, and JR brought it back like that in one night. So, you know, Tanahashi's got his neck problems, Okada goes after the neck, but in return Tanahashi goes after Okada's knees. I don't think Okada's got knee issues, but he's got to work over a body part, hasn't he? So Okada uses like a series of neck breakers and strikes, kicks, and just shots to the head and neck area of Tanahashi. Whilst Tanahashi used quite a lot of dragon screws. I think I counted about 5 or 6 in the match, and just obviously all kinds of different shots to the knee. But the first holy shit, and I found a Japanese for this, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Shinsiena Kuso, which is the Japanese for holy shit. I knew Kuso because Steve Carino said it at War of the Worlds, because Steve Carino knows his Kuso. So the first Shinsiena Kuso moment came when both men, you know, on the outside of the ring, Okada whipped Tanahashi into the guardrail, So Okada runs in to take him out, but Tanahashi, as he gets in sort of touching distance, Tanahashi drop kicked the knee and Okada went over the guardrail. So as Okada's getting up onto his feet, because he's hit the floor quite hard, Tanahashi is climbing up to the top rope, and you're thinking, what the fuck? And Okada makes it back up to his feet, and as he does, Tanahashi jumps over the ringside area, over the guardrail, and onto Okada. It got JR out of his seat, it got Striker out of his seat, it got the fucking crowd out of their seat. So as I say, Shinsuke Nakuso indeed. And soon after that, back in the ring, Tanahashi hit another high fly flow, and Okada was sort of standing. And what he did is he rolled through to set Tanahashi up for the tombstone, which Hiroshi countered that and hit one of his own before landing two high fly flows, one to Okada's back and the other to his torso. But the challenger, he managed to kick out it too, just to add that dramatic feel to the match. Keep it going. Makes you think, well, what the fucking hell's Tanahashi got to do to pick up the win here? But the next exchange, Tanahashi mocked Okada with the Rainmaker pose. He looked to level Okada with his own finisher, but Okada countered it and hit one of his own. And shockingly, and I didn't know this, and I mean I've seen it before, but I don't think you can count it now that I think about it. Tanahashi kicked out of the Rainmaker. And I say I've seen it before, but I don't think you can really count it, because when I've seen it before, Okada's left it for 20 seconds because he was sort of, hurt in the match, so he was sort of nursing his injury, so to speak, and then goes into the cover, so he's left it too long. But this one he went straight into the cover. 1, 2, Tanahashi kicks out it. Probably 2 and 5, 6. So yeah, Tanahashi, the first person to ever kick out of the Rainmaker Lariat, which I thought was fucking amazing. The end sequence was awesome as well. After we had a JR-gasm, as I like to call them, a JR-gasm over the Okada drop kick. Okada went, he went back into attack. Tanahashi, picked him up. But the champion, obviously, Okada went for another Rainmaker, but Tanahashi countered it, and he hit another Dragon Screw, but it was a reverse Dragon Screw this time, so it was to the front of the knee as opposed to the back of the knee. Okada, he was sort of quite close to the ropes, and he managed to prop himself up on the ropes, and Tanahashi rolled out under the ropes and pulled Okada's knee onto the ropes and hit another Dragon Screw on, with his leg caught in the rope. So Okada's hurt. Tanahashi goes up to the top rope, and as he goes up, he comes down, hits another high fly flow to Okada, and just we think he's going to go for a pin here. Surely he doesn't. What he does is he hits another Dragon Screw. So Okada sat up in the ring, clutching his knee. Tanahashi goes up top again, another high fly flow. This time, what he did is he caught Okada in the ribs as Okada was sat up, let him down, still no cover, goes up to the top again, and he hits another high fly flow. But what he has to do is, because of Okada's position, he's sort of facing, his legs are facing the corner that Tanahashi's diving out of. He turns mid-air like RVD does, hits that high fly flow. 1, 2, 3. That's the end of the match. What just an incredible match, and I thought the booking was questionable, was the word I'm going to use, because I really thought they were going to put the belt back on Okada, and for whatever reason they didn't, because they built him up brilliantly over the last, since he's lost the championship to AJ Styles, they've just built him up so brilliantly. Obviously he had the long wait from from winning the G1 Climax to actually getting his championship match. It just seemed a bit, okay, where are you going with this? What's next for Okada now? Obviously Tanahashi just carries on as the champion, but where does Okada go? It just Didn't make much sense, but can't knock the overall quality of the match and the overall quality of the show, really, which was just inch perfect for me. Well, nigh on inch perfect anyway. After the match, Okada was leaving the ring with Gedo, as he always does, but he just broke down into floods of tears, and you could tell. JR said it as well. He's not crying. He's not crying because he's hurt. He's crying of a broken heart, and that was just pure emotion. And that big shows how you fucking cry. This just wasn't an act. This was just done. Obviously, the wrestlers going in, they know the result of what the match is going to be, and I don't know. I can't sort of put it into words why I think he would have just broken down at that. Maybe it was the emotion of the event. Maybe the emotion of losing a high caliber match. For all we know, Okada could be leaving New Japan. Maybe this was his last chance. I did read some speculation on the internet recently that the following night we had the New Year Dash, which was basically just like a fucking live event. I haven't watched it yet, but I will do. And Okada was pinned by Bad Luck Fale, and that's when you think, is there something going on here? They're going to promote Fale, what are they doing with Okada? Losing to someone like Fale, it's not really something that you'd expect, but the speculation that I read was that back in 2013, Okada signed a new contract extension with New Japan. Was that contract extension for only 2 years, or is he going elsewhere? 27 years old, he still makes some big money in the States, big money in the WWE, big money in Ring of Honor, big money in TNA. I'd like to think that he won't go back to TNA, but you get my point. But basically, as Okada was walking out of the arena with Gedo, Tanahashi got on the mic and he said to Okada, and obviously I'm paraphrasing here from a translation from Match Strikers, wherever he got the translation from. He basically said that he's still a long way from becoming the man in New Japan, and Tanahashi is still the ace, basically, which is probably true. But at the very least, you can say Okada can hang with Tanahashi. The guy, he's not equal to him, but he's not far off. Tanahashi's in his 30s, late 30s. I wouldn't say he's winding his career down, because I still think he's probably got another 7, maybe 8 years left in him, but Okada, he's got a lot longer than 7 or 8 years, assuming he stays injury free. He's got a lot longer than 7 or 8 years, and if he stays in New Japan, which I really hope he does, because I don't want to see him going elsewhere, and just, I think if he went somewhere like Ring of Honor, it'd be fine. Send him to WWE, and they'll fuck it. They really will. They'll fuck it. But overall rating of the show, I've written 9, but I'm going to go higher. I'm going to go 9.5. This was almost inch perfect, and I strongly urge anybody who's not watched this show, New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 9, just honestly go out of your way to watch it, because it really was that fucking good. It was just, I said last year, I said since the moment I watched it, the show that New Japan did with Ring of Honor, the second show they did with them, War of the Worlds, was the best show of the year. And I've got the DVD here, so I'll find the date for you. And it was, it doesn't say, useful. May the 17th, 2014. So for 7 months last year, I said that the New Japan and Ring of Honor War of the World show was the best show of the year, and it was. Anybody who's going to top this show, good fucking luck. So what I got to say, obviously got companies like Ring of Honor, Family Wrestling Entertainment. They've got a couple of shows coming up. Obviously WrestleMania. Anybody who's going to top Wrestle Kingdom 9, as I say, or anyone's going to try to top it, good fucking luck to you, because you will struggle. I don't think I've ever given a show a 9.5 out of 10 either as a rating. But yeah, as I say, there was another New Japan show. I've not watched it yet, so I don't know any of the results apart from the fact that Bad Luck Fale pinned Okada in a tag team match. That's as much as I know about it, but I will get onto that. I'm going to do another show this weekend, obviously, for NXT, and I'll just sort of mention the results in that. I said last week I'm going to start doing Ring of Honor results, just do a little cover of Ring of Honor on every show, but Ring of Honor is a review show 2014 this week, so perfect opportunity to talk about the New Japan show, which I'm hoping is going to be, obviously it's not going to be as good as Wrestle Kingdom 9, but hopefully it's still an enjoyable show anyway. Shout outs as always, I'll put them in the notes below. Make sure you look for me on Twitter at Axel Mulligan, follow the Axel's Analysis Twitter page at Axel's Analysis. Still thinking of changing up the name of the show, needed something a bit more wrestling related, just to, I don't know, maybe to promote it a little bit more. But anybody's got any ideas, just send me a tweet, send me a message on Twitter, on either account, I'm not too fussed. Also check out the Axel's Analysis Facebook page, just search Axel's Analysis, and I've also got a Google Plus page which I haven't spoken about for a little while, but again, Axel's Analysis, Google Plus. Put the show on YouTube, Podomatic, MixCloud. I'm also on SoundCloud now as well. If anybody else knows of any sites where I can put the show, just again let me know. Send me a message, I don't care where it's to. Yeah, thank you everybody for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed Wrestle Kingdom 9. If you've not watched it, as I say, get onto it and watch it. I'll be back again this weekend with the NXT review, and as I say, a review of New Year Dash as well. So thanks everybody for listening.